Imagine boarding what seems like a completely ordinary flight. Passengers settle into their seats. Flight attendants prepare for takeoff. Everything appears perfectly normal. Among the passengers sits a well-dressed man in a black business suit. He quietly takes a seat near the back of the aircraft. Calm, polite, and unremarkable. He orders a bourbon and soda. He lights a cigarette. He blends in with everyone else. Nothing about him raises suspicion. Within a few hours, this ordinary passenger will commit one of the boldest crimes in aviation history. He will hijack the aircraft, demand $200,000, leap into the darkness with a parachute, and disappear without a trace. Did he survive? Did he escape with the money? Or did the wilderness hide his final secret forever? More than 50 years later, no one knows exactly who he was. This is the incredible story of D.B. Cooper. It was Wednesday, November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving in the United States. At Portland, Oregon, a man bought a one-way ticket for Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 to Seattle. He identified himself as Dan Cooper. He was in his mid-40s, around 6 feet tall, wearing a dark business suit, black tie, polished shoes, and carrying a black briefcase. Nothing about him attracted attention. The flight departed with 36 passengers and 6 crew members. No one imagined they were about to become part of aviation history. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a folded note to a flight attendant. Thinking it was harmless, she slipped it into her pocket without reading it. The man quietly said, "Miss, you had better read that note. I have a bomb." She unfolded the note and found a demand for money. He opened his briefcase, just enough to reveal wires, batteries, and red cylinders. Whether it was a real bomb has never been confirmed. The flight attendant calmly informed the pilots. The hijacking had begun. The hijacker demanded $200,000 in cash for parachutes and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. The pilots contacted air traffic control. Federal authorities decided to cooperate to protect everyone on board. While the aircraft circled, banks gathered $10,000 $20 bills and 4 parachutes. Investigators photographed every serial number, hoping the money would someday identify the hijacker. After several hours, Flight 305 landed safely in Seattle. The money and parachutes were delivered. The hijacker counted the bags. Then he released every passenger. Only the pilots, the flight engineer, and 1 flight attendant remained. He ordered the crew to fly toward Mexico City. The aircraft had to fly low, at a slow speed, with the landing gear partly lowered, and the rear staircase ready to open. These unusual instructions suggested he understood aircraft operations. As darkness covered the Pacific Northwest, the aircraft flew through heavy rain and powerful winds. Around 8 o'clock, a warning light indicated movement at the rear staircase. Soon afterward, the crew noticed a sudden change in air pressure. Investigators believe this was the exact moment the hijacker jumped. He carried the ransom money strapped to his body, using one of the supplied parachutes. Outside, freezing temperatures, heavy rain, strong winds, and dense forests made survival extremely difficult. Yet the mysterious man vanished into the darkness. No one ever saw him again. The search became one of the largest criminal investigations in American history. Agents searched forests, rivers, mountains, and fields. Military helicopters joined the operation. Thousands of people were interviewed. Hundreds of suspects were investigated. Despite decades of work, authorities never identified the hijacker. The case became the only unsolved skyjacking in United States history. Because of an early reporting mistake, the media called him D.B. Cooper. The ticket, however, had been purchased under the name Dan Cooper. The mistaken name became famous around the world. For almost 10 years, no physical evidence appeared. Then in 1988, year-old Brian Ingram discovered 3 bundles of decayed $20 bills buried along the Columbia River. Authorities checked the serial numbers. They matched the ransom money exactly. It was a major breakthrough, but it raised even more questions. How did the money reach the riverbank? Did Cooper survive? Did floodwaters carry it there? Or was it buried intentionally? No one knows. Many theories try to explain what happened. Some believe Cooper escaped and lived under a new identity. Others think he died during the dangerous jump. Some researchers believe he had military or parachuting experience. Others argue his decisions showed inexperience. Without definitive evidence, every theory remains uncertain. After more than 4 decades, the FBI suspended its active investigation in 2016. However, the mystery remains officially unsolved. Researchers, journalists, historians, and amateur investigators continue searching for new clues. The true identity of the hijacker has never been confirmed. The story of D.B. Cooper has inspired books, documentaries, television shows, podcasts, and movies. Was he a brilliant planner who escaped with the money? Did he perish during the jump? Or is the truth still waiting to be discovered? Perhaps one day a forgotten clue will reveal what really happened. Until then, the legend of D.B. Cooper remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. What do you think happened to D.B. Cooper? Share your theory in the comments. Subscribe for more real mysteries, historical investigations, and fascinating stories. Additional information about D.B. Cooper. One reason the hijacking shocked investigators was the aircraft itself. The Boeing 727 had a unique rear staircase that could be lowered while the airplane was still flying. Very few passengers even knew this feature existed. Investigators later believed the hijacker deliberately selected this aircraft because it gave him the best chance of escaping without being seen. The crime also changed aviation forever. Before 1971, airport security in the United States was surprisingly relaxed. Passengers could buy tickets with cash only minutes before departure. There were no metal detectors at most airports. Identification checks were minimal. Baggage screening was uncommon. After the Cooper hijacking, airports introduced stricter security measures. Metal detectors became standard. Passenger screening became routine. Airlines improved hijacking response procedures. Engineers even designed a special safety device known as the Cooper vane. This simple mechanical device prevents the rear staircase of a Boeing 727 from being lowered while the aircraft is flying. It was created specifically because of the Cooper case. The ransom money itself became another mystery. Investigators recorded the serial number of every $20 bill before handing over the cash. The complete list was distributed to banks, casinos, businesses, and law enforcement agencies across the country. Surprisingly, almost none of the bills were ever found in circulation. This raised an important question. If Cooper survived, why was the money never spent? Over the years, hundreds of people were suggested as possible suspects. Former soldiers, professional skydivers, pilots, criminals, and even ordinary businessmen were investigated. Many appeared convincing at first, but every theory eventually lacked enough evidence to prove their identity. Some investigators believed Cooper carefully studied aviation manuals before the hijacking. His detailed instructions to the pilots suggested he understood aircraft performance. He knew the ideal speed, altitude, and flight configuration for a parachute jump from a Boeing 727. However, other experts disagreed. They argued that choosing an older civilian parachute and jumping into freezing weather at night suggested he was not an experienced skydiver. Another fascinating mystery involves the name Dan Cooper. There was no known American criminal by that name. However, Canada had a popular comic book hero named Dan Cooper. The character was a Royal Canadian Air Force pilot who often went on dangerous airborne missions. Some researchers believe the hijacker may have borrowed the name from those comic books. If true, it could suggest he had spent time in Canada or was familiar with Canadian culture. The case officially remains unsolved. Even though the FBI suspended its active investigation in 2016, the evidence collected from the case is carefully preserved. Historians, journalists, and independent researchers continue examining old files using modern forensic technology. Every few years, a new suspect or theory appears, but none has solved the mystery. More than half a century later, the story continues to inspire books, documentaries, films, podcasts, and television programs around the world. The legend of D.B. Cooper has become much more than a criminal case. It has become one of the greatest mysteries in modern history and a symbol of the perfect disappearing act. Subscribe for more real mysteries, historical investigations, and fascinating stories. Welcome to AI World, a place where curiosity never ends. Every video takes you on an unforgettable journey through real mysteries, fascinating facts, incredible discoveries, and amazing stories from around the world. Here you will explore unsolved mysteries that continue to puzzle experts, historical events that changed the course of humanity, ancient civilizations lost to time, scientific discoveries that transformed our understanding of the universe, extraordinary people whose stories deserve to be remembered, mind-bending quizzes that challenge your knowledge, amazing animal facts, space exploration, hidden treasures, ancient secrets, detective investigations, and strange phenomena that science is still trying to explain. Every story is carefully researched and presented in a simple, engaging, and easy-to-understand way. Whether you enjoy history, science, mysteries, technology, or general knowledge, there is always something new waiting for you. Our goal is simple: to educate, to entertain, and to inspire curiosity in every viewer. If you love discovering the unknown, solving mysteries, learning incredible facts, and challenging your mind, then you are in the right place. Subscribe to AI World and become part of a growing community of curious minds from around the world. Turn on notifications so you never miss a new adventure. Every video is a new mystery. Every mystery has a story. And every story begins right here. Welcome to AI World, where knowledge meets curiosity.